Hi guys, welcome to another month of what I was calling, Daily life or something like that. I'm going to change my series around. So before I started this layout, I wanted to talk to you about it a little bit. I bought, I kind of started this with that Echo Park collection. And I'm going to be straight out honest with you. I'm not enjoying, I'm dreading doing the layouts with that collection. It's a nice collection and I will still use it in the future. But for right now, I'm not going to make myself use that every month because it's stressful and I don't want this series to be something that I don't enjoy doing because, here it is. It's already a few days before I want to put this up and I haven't even started it because I didn't know what to do, which pictures to use, that collection seems to be very the same, and I didn't want to do a bunch of layouts that were all the same. So I am going to pull out. I'm very sorry to anybody who I might have encouraged to buy that collection to follow along, but from the comments that I read, not very many of you, if any of you, really seemed super excited about the collection. So I'm still going to do page maps. What I'm going to do each month is I'm going to pick one. It could be any of the page maps. It won't go up until the following month. So like this month in a few days, I'm going to put up March's layout. So I'm just going to pick one. And again, it's going to go up the next month. And it's going to be more a series about using page maps. I'm not sure what I want to title it yet and change the title, but I think as long as I get a video up, you guys don't really mind from what I picked up on. I might this time, since I have this out, since I used it at the crop I was just at. This is the Doodlebug Pumpkin Spice. You can see it definitely needs to be used. I have some pictures here, trying to decide if they will work because I do want to use the double page sketch. Anyways, thank you for understanding my change. I really apologize if this makes you unhappy, but I've got to be inspiring. I can't inspire you guys if I'm not inspired, right? So I just wanted to say all that, and now let's get started on the layout. Okay, so here is the sketch from Page Maps that I'm using, and again, I'm going to use the double page layout. And I do apologize because I know that this video is going up later in the month than I had originally planned on putting up this series every month, and I'm hoping that next month I will be back on track. I'm going to be completely honest, I've had a lot of anxiety about posting this layout and not using what I had originally said I was going to use. So I'm sure that a lot of you will be super kind and generous about it, and I thank you for that. Like I said, if there's anybody who's upset by me not using it, I'm really sorry. I can't. If this was my career or something like that, or if I made tons of money from doing this, that would be one thing, but I apologize if you can hear noise in the background. My cat is exploring now. I want to be able to make layouts that I enjoy. Otherwise, they're not going to look very good. And I will go back to that collection and use that collection in the future. So don't think that I'm completely done with it. So like I said, I am really sorry if you are upset by it, but hopefully you're not, or hopefully not very many of you are. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue with this layout and put it up and see what happens and continue with this series. I am using the Pumpkin Spice by Doodlebug. I've used this a couple times. I don't know if I've necessarily used it in videos. I can't remember. It is a couple years old, and I was actually going to do a few layouts with this, but there is just a lot on my desk right now. Joining the two YouTube hops kind of has thrown me for a loop, and then this series, and then my one and done, and then also I want to get up another Spend Less, Scrap More, because I know it's been a while since I've done one of those, and that's another story there, which I will explain in another video. But yeah, I just want to get some videos up for you guys and get this stuff going. I played around a little bit with what colors. I really like that polka dot. These are photos of us carving pumpkins, I think way back to even 2017. I can't remember, but I decided to go ahead and go with this kind of orange plaid for the background since I don't know, I liked the orange color. It's not one of my favorite patterns, so using it in this small little bit, it really kind of helps pull out the colors, and I don't mind it as well. You can see that I have cut that one strip wrong already. I'm going to admit that I wasn't a super fan of this layout afterwards, and I will kind of explain why. I seem to say that a lot, but I think during the process, I'm more critical of myself than I am coming back and looking at the layout later. I don't know why. I think I'm just always critical of myself, so I think that's just kind of who I am. These are the sizes of the pieces that I'm putting down. Now for the orange plaid, I did put 10 by 12 because that is kind of what I'm using. However, you can see that I have cut I think these were scraps, so, you know, it's not a full 12 inches tall. So you can do like I did, or you can do the full 10 by 12, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. But I am gluing these ones down, and I do follow the sketch very closely. I do add another picture that I almost forgot, which was one of my favorite pictures, so I wanted to make sure to get it on there. But I'm going to get quite a few doodle pops used up, which is good. I love Doodlebug, and I think their doodle pops are super, super cute, but honestly, I struggle using them sometimes. Sometimes they're super easy to use, and I love the way they look, but other times to me, they seem a little harder to use, just because they're so dimensional. And unless you have a lot, I mean, they're like foam tape times two. So if you have doodle pops and kind of have the same problem as me, just so you know, you can very gently delayer some of the doodle pops or take them apart and add your own foam adhesive. You just have to be super careful. I have done that before, and I thought about, after I was done with this layout, I almost went back and did that to some of my doodle pops, but I thought, no, I'm just going to leave them this time and call it good. So the one thing I forgot to add on my sizes, just real quick to mention that, is these photo mats, but I honestly don't know the size of them. I just fit them around my photos with just a tiny border. Just letting you know that. Then I also changed the photo sizes for this right-hand page because I think they called for 2.5 by 3.5. And I want to say mine are 2.5 by 4. And I was originally going to make them 3 by 4 until I realized that the photos and the squares that are on the very right-hand side line up with the edge of the polka dot paper. And so to continue that, I would have to make these photos a little skinnier. And luckily for me, it worked. And in fact, I actually trimmed them up slightly smaller than the 2.5 width, just so I could have that same photo mat around them as well. I feel like the photo mat was kind of needed to help it stand out just a little bit. And, actually looking at that paper just now, I should have used some of those. I was thinking I couldn't use them because they weren't the 3 by 3 size, but I could have still used them and did my own thing with them, actually. And I should have done that, but oh well, it's too late now, and maybe I'll remember that for next time. So I am going through more, again, kind of my scraps, just to kind of figure out which pattern papers would work really well with the polka dot and the orange plaid, and I kind of go back and forth. I have a few pieces left of the 6 by 6 pad. I did have a full 6 by 6 pad at one point, but I'm kind of going to struggle a little bit with this point. There's colors that I want to bring over. I'm happy with the end result, like I said, but you know, the process of actually putting it together doesn't always come together the way you want it to, but it looks good in the end, that type of thing, going back to that. So I probably could have cut into a 12 by 12, but I think also there just wasn't a pattern that was much different than the ones that I already have over here on the left. Now I know, or excuse me, on the right, I know at this point that I'm going to add, you know, even on the sketch, there's little animal, you know, people things sticking out on those squares. And so I knew I was going to add stuff to them. So I didn't want anything that was overly busy to go over here on this side. So, but I really did. I liked the green being pulled out, and actually it stands out kind of a lot right now. In fact, I'm not really liking it at this point. I mean, I like it, but I can tell that it really stands out. But the page at the end, you will see how that kind of comes together. And again, just playing around with different patterns that I might want to add in this section. And luckily, all my photos in these squares lined up just like they're supposed to. I didn't have any weird gaps or, you know, it kind of going off to the right a little bit. So that worked out pretty well. And I'm just going to start at the bottom and glue my photos. Now, the thing that I mentioned that I wasn't crazy about as far as the doodle pops is kind of coming up, because these photos here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 photos, and I believe that's what the sketch called for. I believe I follow this, like, except for the title placement maybe and adding an extra photo. I believe I follow this fairly closely to this sketch. But I was worried, or the doodle pops that I add stand out, you know, because they have dimension. And I'm going back looking at it. When I wasn't looking at it that night after I made it, I thought, oh, those doodle pops are probably taking away from the photos. And in all honesty, maybe they do a little bit. And I really like some of these photos, but when I came back and looked at it, it's really not as bad as I was picturing in my mind. So I'm good with that. And here I am. I'm just taping my page together. I've been doing that a lot lately and rather enjoying it. So another thing I am going to change up, I'm going to look through these journaling boxes, and I thought for sure that these would work perfectly for the journaling, because they do have the journaling sticking out a little bit underneath those photos on the right hand page. I'm not able to find one that I really am crazy about to stick out underneath. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to put that to the side and I'm not going to worry about that right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back later on, and I was going to do a different type of journaling just on regular, you know, like white cardstock or something. But I end up changing that, and partly because I found this sticker here, and I think it says it's pumpkin time or something like that. And I really liked it. And it's one of those stickers that I normally would struggle with using, but the title on the sketch is above those 2 photos on the right-hand page. But this sticker just didn't look very good there, and I wanted it to be my title. So I went ahead and added it to the left-hand side of the page, the very left. And what I like is it really brings that green over. And then I almost forgot about this other photo, which is one of my favorite photos. So I'm glad I remembered it. But I'm going to glue it, and I also gave it a green mat. So that is where everything starts to be spread around the page, is by bringing the green from that title block and the green around that one photo. And then you have the green over there on the right hand side. And then this scarecrow, which is where I started with the doodle pops, he also has green. So the green really starts to show up a lot around the page. And pumpkins have green on them. So, I mean, that's why I kind of wanted to bring that out. You can see here is my die cut pieces. I'm kind of just looking around, looking for any little word phrases, just not really sure what I wanted. And I was kind of looking for the little animals. I think that couple things bugged me about the animals. They have their animals kind of floating in those boxes, and I think one or two of mine, like the scarecrow, he doesn't end up flush to the bottom either, and I don't think this fox does, but I think that kind of threw me off a little bit. So I did struggle a little bit with that, and it's going to go a little back and forth because in some of the boxes they are going to be floating, and in others they're not. Excuse me. So that part does throw me off. I'm going to admit that. But then I started finding things and I really started to get in the flow of this layout, and I'm at this point I'm really liking it. Um, I did add those trees in a little cluster there, you can see, and there was a bird, and also one of the doodle pops had some mushrooms. I love Doodlebug's mushrooms. They are just the cutest. If mushrooms could be cute, they made them cute. Of course, they do that with everything, right? Um, and I feel like I keep using mushrooms on layouts. I don't know what my, I don't know. I can't think of the words I'm trying to say, but I'm definitely on some kind of mushroom kick apparently, but these ones are a lot cuter, so I don't mind if they're not hiding in the back. But I really like that cluster with the trees over there, and there's that little black crow above that one photo. So working over here again with these 3x3 squares, and again, looking at it here, I was way worried about the photos not standing out, but they did fine. And if you wanted to basically follow along, kind of do the same thing, I would suggest maybe even if you felt like they were not standing out enough, you could add some foam adhesive underneath them. At this point, I already had them glued down and I wasn't worried about it. Like I said, I didn't worry about it till that night. I was kind of like, I wonder if they're getting too lost, you know. But I'm going to start gluing everything down. Like I said, that bear, you can see he's not floating in the box, but I really wanted to add those little mushrooms there next to him, so I went ahead and just put him down flush. And then the scarecrow is kind of floating, but I also found that word pumpkins, that little tag. And normally, if you guys know me, I do struggle using tags, so I thought, hey, it says pumpkins, it looks good there, I'm going to go for it. And now I'm gluing down the bear. I do add extra adhesive to the doodle pops as well, but what don't I add extra adhesive to, right? Now this little mushroom piece, forgive my head, but it came apart, so I'm just trying to glue it here. I can't remember. I think I tried gluing it with foam adhesive, but then I just ended up gluing it flat. I'm gluing the epoxy layer. If it didn't have the epoxy shiny part, I probably would have just left it, but that's what I wanted. It's a cute part of the mushroom, so I wanted to leave that there. I also added that border with the striped scalloped border sticker on the very right hand side, if you didn't notice me doing that. I did that, and I like that because it brings over, the polka dot paper has so many of the colors of the collection in it, and that striped scallop I feel like really brings over all those colors. So yeah, I'm glad I did that. And then I ended up moving the fox. And so again, I think the bear is the only one that's not floating in those boxes, but I'm okay with that. A little bit kind of not sure of the fox and that raccoon, but they're super cute. And since I had 2 doodle pops already in 2 to 3 of the boxes, I didn't want to leave the 4th box without one. So, you know, and I do have the bird. The crow that's on the left is from one of the Doodle Pop sticker sheets, so he sticks up like a Doodle Pop. So I don't necessarily feel like I need to add a Doodle Pop over here on the very left-hand side. If you didn't have the crow or something kind of similar, you might want to add something over there, but I didn't worry about it because I had the crow. And of these Doodle Pop sheets, there's just a few like little leaves and pieces, so I'm just kind of trying to use them up since they, you know, to leave one little tiny sticker on a sheet, you know, just trying to think, why not try to use them before I actually put them away. These are, I believe these leaves are flat. They're not the dimensional part. They're just flat added stickers. This leaf here I think has dimension, but most of the other ones I'm kind of just tucking around don't have the dimension. And just playing around, kind of adding the leaves, just going with the fall theme a little more, adding that color. I like the orange behind the scarecrow. It kind of brings the orange down. I like the leaf, the green leaf by the fox, because it kind of, again, brings that green around a little more. Now at this point, I'm pretty much almost done with the page. The one thing I know that is missing is it needs something in that spot in the very middle. And I think at this point I knew I was going to probably be adding my journaling there. I thought maybe I would type up my journaling, but I'm going to change my mind, and I am going to find one of those like journaling sheets that I was looking at earlier thinking I'd put underneath. But I'm going to cut one down, and I'm going to go ahead and add it there in that spot. You will see that in just a moment. I'm pretty sure I add that in. And then again, just trying to use up more of this stash because I have way too much of this collection, which I have been much better about not buying too much Doodlebug. Just so you know, you'll be proud of me. I do plan on doing a haul video of the last few collections. Like I said, I need to find a way to get a little bit better organized, I will fully admit, and, you know, kind of keep all these videos together and organized so they can go up when they're supposed to, and I can remember to do them. That's the other thing, is just remembering. So, yeah, if you have any questions, you know, please feel free to leave me a question below. I do try to answer. I do try to respond to every post. And again, I do apologize if I've upset anybody with changing this around, but I'm still using the sketches, and I'm still planning, at least for this series, to put the sizes up. So hopefully that is what, it didn't seem like very many of you really were that crazy about the other collection I was using. So that is why I'm not worried, but I've got to get this video up so I can just get past it, right? All right. I think that's pretty much it. Again, I added that journaling block and just another little pumpkin in there. And that's my layout. I'm giving it a good check out here, but here's the Doodle Pops, and you can see they are so cute. And like I said, if you wanted your photos to pop out more, just add some foam tape underneath them. And then this is that cluster. You might have noticed I did add enamel dots in a few clusters around the page. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will get this video up as soon as I can. Of course, by the time you're watching it, it'll be up. Have a great day.